I'm Ezra Levant. It's June 21st and you're watching Battleground. Oh, hi everybody. I am Ezra Levant. I am the Rebel Commander here at the Rebel.media. We're based in Canada. We have viewers around the world. We talk about things in the United States, in the UK, here in Canada, and elsewhere, of course. And for about a month and a half now, we've been doing this thing called Super Chat. It's a new invention by YouTube. It's live chat, live streaming, which is not new in itself, but the Super Chat feature, that's what's new. That's what YouTube calls it. It lets people make comments that are put in a bold highlight and appended to the top of the comment box there by paying a couple bucks, $5. I've even seen someone put in $50. And what's great for content creators like us is that YouTube shares the dough with us. I think we get 70% of the revenues or something. I'm not sure. So it's a good way to replace the revenue that YouTube demonetized from conservative commentary sites from us, but it's also a fun way. I mean, I see, I think I saw one just pop by there a second ago. Oh, no, I didn't. When it's in Super Chat, it's very bright to see. We've talked a lot about different things over the last few months, including a big subject for the last month is Tommy Robinson and his imprisonment. Tommy used to work for us as our reporter in the UK. He went independent earlier this spring, but we kept in touch and we were shocked when he was swiftly arrested and thrown in prison short hours thereafter. And we've been helping out a little bit with a crowdfunding campaign to pay for his lawyers. I understand we might have some news on the legal front as soon as today. Wouldn't that be good? I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying that we're fighting back. But you knew that already from going to save Tommy. I don't have any Tommy news for you today. I probably will have some tomorrow. But I will talk about some other news that is just, I tell you, the Trump derangement syndrome, it is strong out there. What do you think should happen if an unaccompanied minor, that is a young person, crosses the border illegally from Mexico without his parents? What should be done with that child if they're in the hands of a human trafficker, like a gang, like MS-13, or just some non-gang, smuggler? Should they be set free? Should they be imprisoned with strange adults? Of course they should be detained separately. And about 80% of the minors who cross the border are not with their own families. But let's say they're crossing illegal with their parents. Should they be put into an adult prison with their parents? And the reason I say prison is because it's breaking the law. It's a criminal act to break into the United States. It's not a criminal act to walk up to a border crossing and apply for asylum. That's not against the law. There are 10 American consulates throughout Mexico where such an application process can be made legally as well. You go to the U.S. Embassy or any of the consulates and say, hi, I'd like to apply for asylum. You're not going to be arrested. They're going to either say yes or no. They'll start by saying fill out the paperwork. The reason these kids are detained is because they are accompanying a lawbreaker. They themselves are actually breaking the law too, although you wouldn't hold a child accountable for that. This is not a new thing. I'd like to show you some clips showing how long-standing this policy is. I mean, did you think it was just invented? Did you think that until this moment, young people were put in adult prisons in America? You think that that's how it goes? You think for Americans in prison, for Canadians in prison, for Brits in prison, do you think their kids go into prison with them? Did you think that's how it was? It's almost like the media thinks that's how it was. Here, let's start with the Clinton State of the Union address more than 20 years ago. Listen a little bit to Bill.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Pretty obvious. Here's Dianne Feinstein, even earlier than that. This is going back 25 years now.
And that's why the issue is now joined with 2 million illegal immigrants. it's a competition for space. Whether the space is a job, the space is a home, a place in a classroom, it becomes a competition for space. This is a country that's based on immigration, and we all know that. And yet, at times, you become so overtaxed, you have to concentrate on saying the people who should be here are those who come legally at this time. And we've got to, for the time being, enforce our borders.
That's pretty amazing. A few amazing things there. First of all, Dianne Feinstein has been in the Senate for as long as she has. Back then, she said 2 million illegals. The lowest estimate today is 13 million. But she's so right. Competition for jobs, competition for social services, competition for her affections would be something I'd add. There are so many illegals in California now that she has decided to throw in her lot with them, hasn't she? Let me show you one more clip. This is from Barack Obama just 4 years ago.
Our message absolutely is don't send your children unaccompanied on trains or through a bunch of smugglers. We don't even know how many of these kids don't make it and may have been waylaid into sex trafficking or killed because they fell off a train. We have no way of tracking that. So that is our direct message to the families in Central America. Do not send your children to the borders. If they do make it, they'll get sent back. More importantly, they may not make it.
In answer to his point there, we do have estimates of how many of these children are sexually exploited. The answer is between 40 and 60%. So pretty much half of all kids being brought across the border are molested, raped, or exploited, pressured into providing sex either to the traffickers themselves or to the people the traffickers pimp them out to. I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the day before, we showed you some images. I think they might have been from the Obama administration of children in detention centers because, as you heard there, they send them back. And before they send them back, they detain them. And it doesn't look good to have kids in detention, but that is how it is. It's how it is in Canada, too. Do we have the website of Canada's child detention? The CBC had a little story on it yesterday. I'm shocked the CBC even dared to show it. You don't think we detain kids as well? You think that we put kids, look at this. Canada aims to avoid detaining migrant children, but it happens. Hey man, it happens. McGill study on Canadian practice finds psychiatric and academic difficulties long after detention. But look at that headline there. It's written so lovingly by Benjamin Shingler of the CBC, which is Canada's state broadcast. Hey man, I mean, we totally aim to avoid detaining migrant children, but it happens. It's accidental, man. I mean, no one really wanted. I mean, what does that mean? Canada aims to. I mean, either does this suggest that it was accidental? I'm sorry, man. I detained your kid. I totally aim not to, man. But it happens. It happens. I love that passive wording. Not that is the law of Canada and Justin Trudeau as the chief legislator and enforces the law. Man, it happens. It just happened. Hey, what's that kid doing? What's that kid doing behind bars? Dude, stop being so accusatory. That just happened. I mean, it's like this rash, man. Don't blame me. Okay, I'm going to stop doing. I don't even know what accent or impression that was. That's just sort of my dude. It just happened. Okay. Do we have the Trudeau preening clip? Because yesterday, when the whole of the mainstream media was in absolute freak-out mode, because like homelessness, like any social ills that were ignored for 8 years under Barack Obama, they have been rediscovered now that there's a Trump to blame. You can't blame Trump for unemployment or the economy because it's the best ever. Unemployment is the lowest ever for blacks, the lowest ever for Hispanics. I saw that business confidence amongst manufacturers is at 95%, the largest ever recorded. So you can't blame Trump for economic ills. So how about for things that have been going on that would make a fella cry or a journalist cry, and that is a detained child? Do we have the Trudeau preening clip? Let's take a look at it right now.
What's going on in the United States is wrong. I can't imagine what the families living through this are enduring. Obviously, this is not the way we do things in Canada.
Can you get a clip from the movie The Wedding Crashers called Just the Tip? I'm going to call for that clip in a bit. It's called Just the Tip. So that's Justin Trudeau. Putting on his best drama teacher voice. You know, he does the head bob thing, he does the eye thing, and he gets his romantic voice. He gets his sexy voice going on, and he looks at all the reporters, especially the lady reporters, and he says, "I just can't believe what these kids are going through, and it pains me very deeply, and that I'm horrified. And ladies, I want you to know I'm totally not like that Donald Trump, and if I were to grope you like I groped that female reporter in Creston, BC, it would be a pleasant grope, not the grope of Donald Trump, who's an old man." So he does his sexy voice. Do you have Just the Tip? I call it my Just the Tip voice. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you've missed a funny movie called The Wedding Crashers. I would like you to hear Vince Vaughn, I think is the name of the actor, in the movie The Wedding Crashers. And whenever I hear Justin Trudeau go into his, "I'm deeply upset about the misogyny of Donald Trump. It's not like my misogyny when I grew up that girl in Creston. And I want you to know, ladies, that I'm deeply concerned about Donald Trump putting kids in cages. We would never do that in Canada unless, as the CBC says, it just happened. We aim not to do that in Canada. Sometimes it happens, but it's not like the States where Donald Trump is a very bad man." How are we doing with Just a Tip? Great, I'll send it to you. You know what I'm talking about, eh? Wedding Crashers. Just the Tip. There it is. It's the first thing that pops up. I'll send that to you. It's an obscure joke, but I can't help but think of Vince Vaughn when he's got this. Anyhow, I'll play it for. We'll dig it up and we'll play it for you. I'll come back to it, but I just can't get Justin Trudeau out of when I see Justin Trudeau in his sexy voice mode. It reminds me of Vince Vaughn in his sexy voice mode. We'll get back to that. In the meantime, what's the opposite of sexy? Think, what is the opposite of sexy? Like a dead squirrel on the highway. What could, make you lose the mood in about 2 seconds? Hillary Clinton. So here, take a look at Hillary Clinton talking about kids and how they got to go back. Take a look.
They should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back, but I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families.
That one there, I think is...
So what do you think? So what do you think of Hillary Clinton? Do you think there's been a single politician over the past 20 years who was responsible for administering the U.S. government policy, whether it was Democrat or Republican, who did not enforce that law? Now, I'm not saying they enforced it with vigor, but they all, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, when she was in the cabinet, that law was enforced. You saw clips, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, they all enforced the law. It's just now the media is select. Do we have Just a Tip? All right. You're probably thinking, Ezra, what's this Just the Tip bit? What's it about? What are you talking about? I want you to watch this Just the Tip clip from a comedy called Wedding Crashers. And then I want to play that Justin Trudeau clip again. And for the rest of your life, when you hear Justin Trudeau go into his sexy mode. He's on the phone. He's talking to someone on the phone. We don't have it. All right. Okay. We'll find it. I know we're so deep into this now, we got to find it. It's the Trudeau voice he puts on when he wants you to know he deeply deeply cares. It's the voice he uses when he, after a terrorist attack, after a Muslim terrorist attack, he wants you to know in his sexy voice that this is a time for unity in diversity. And ladies, diversity is our strength. All right, keep looking for just the tip. Because once you see that clip of Vince Vaughn saying just the tip, you'll never be able to look at Justin Trudeau without thinking of it, because he's such a faker. He's a fake substitute drama teacher. And it still works, I think, with about 35% of the population. But I point out to you that Justin Trudeau's support in the polls is lower than Donald Trump's support in the polls. And Justin Trudeau just lost a safe by-election seat in Quebec. The Conservatives got more than 50% in like a 5-party race. All right. Donald Trump did bend the knee or blink. He said, all right, we're going to stop some of this separation business. So show the clip of Trump. Do we have the clip of Trump signing the executive order?
Well, thank you very much. We're signing an executive order I consider to be a very important executive order. It's about keeping families together while at the same time being sure that we have a very powerful, very strong border, and border security will be equal, if not greater, than previously. Okay. You're going to have a lot of happy people.
Thank you, Mr. President, why did you wait so long to sign this? You've seen this coverage for 40 years.
It's been going on for 60 years. 60 years, nobody's taken care of it. Nobody's had the political courage to take care of it, but we're going to take care of it. It's been going on for a long time.
All right, so what's going to happen if kids aren't going to be separated anymore? If Donald Trump did blink, well, then are we going to send both parents and kids home? Here's the blaze with the response from Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Were they pleased? They were crying, they were bawling, they were saying it was Nazi-like. No, they're actually outraged now that look at those faces, that anyone would still be upset. Look at a tweet from Kamala Harris, who's being touted as a possible presidential contender. This executive order doesn't fix the crisis. Oh, well, hang on, I thought it did. Indefinitely detaining children with their families in camps is inhumane and will not make us safe. Hang on. I thought you didn't want the kids detained separately like Justin Trudeau does. And now you're saying you don't want them detained with their families? I think you just don't want any illegals detained anywhere, ever. I think that's what's going on here. Any luck on the Just a Tip, guys? No, I'll wait for you to tell me if you find it. Maybe we'll have to do it tomorrow. All right, I see a couple super chats coming in. Craig McDonald says, that was your Catherine McKenna accent. A little bit, Catherine McKenna does vocal fry. You know that vocal fry? It's a Kardashian sound. It's when you go, that's the Kardashian thing. She's got the Valley Girl thing, but she's also got the vocal fry. I can't do the vocal fry very well. Tame Thing 1 says, leftist logic, U.S. is evil, yet everyone must enter. Isn't that the truth? If the U.S. is so odious, why does everyone want to get in there? Why do people leave Mexico for the United States if it's so racist and awful? Well, that's obviously not true. So before Trump ended, as he accurately describes, a policy that predates him by decades, they were super grossness. We showed you yesterday Peter Fonda saying he wanted the Secretary of Homeland Security literally stripped naked, put in a cage, lashed, and the whole thing filmed. That's just like this weird, violent fantasy that he just put out there, and Twitter didn't ban him. His movie studio, Sony Pictures, didn't drop him. compare that to Roseanne Barr's treatment. You had just absolute insanity out there, including from Canadians who really want to be part of that Trump derangement down there. There's so many Canadians who really, really want to be anti-Trump warriors, including a CBC dramatic actor named Pat Dussault. Let me put up his tweet here. So, hold this up. So we have Peter Fonda saying we should rip Baron Trump from his mother's arms, put him in a cage with pedophiles, and see if mother will stand up against the giant asshole she's married to. 90 million people in the streets on the same weekend. So super weird, really, really, really weird. And Donald Trump Jr., Barron's stepbrother, says, you're clearly a sick individual and everyone is an internet badass. But rather than attack an 11-year-old like a bully and a coward, why don't you pick on someone a little bit bigger? Let me know. It's a good response by Donald Trump Jr., I think. And then Pat Dussault to the rescue. Don't worry, we're coming for Chloe too. I think Chloe is the name of one of Donald Trump Jr.'s kids. So Pat Dussault, he so digs this sexual violence threat by Peter Henry Fonda, I guess his full name, that even after Donald Trump says you're sick, stop picking on an 11-year-old, don't be a bully, this freak, Pat Dussault, says we're coming for your daughter too. What does that mean? What is coming for Chloe too? Would you rip Chloe away from Donald Trump Jr.? Would you kidnap her? Would you put her in a cage with a pedophile? Are you a pedophile? Are you saying that you're going to see? At least Henry Fonda said with a pedophile. So Henry Fonda himself is not saying I am a pedophile. He's saying put him in a cage with a pedophile. But here, Pat Dussault switches from a pedophile, third person, to first person plural. We includes me. Pat Dussault, are you coming for Chloe too? Who's this we? You're including yourself in it. Are you saying that which part of this are you going to do? Are you going to rip Chloe away from Donald Trump Jr., or are you the pedophile, or are you a bit of both, or who the hell are you? Well, go to his IMDb page. He's a CBC star. Patrick Dussault. So many productions with the CBC. You can see he's with This Hour is 22 Minutes and all these other CBC productions. A bunch of other junk too. He's a bit of a loser. He's with the Beaverton. TV shows. Lots of CBC stuff. So he made an apology. Let's read his apology. I sincerely apologize to Donald Trump Jr. and his family for the reckless tweet that I posted earlier today. My careless words were mine alone and do not reflect the values or beliefs of any individual or organization associated with me. Overwhelmed by recent events at the U.S. border, I let my emotions get the best of me and made a failed, totally inappropriate attempt at humor. Is that what that was? We're coming for Chloe too. Is that it's just a joke? Ha ha! Come on, you guys. It was just a joke, you guys. I mean, come on. You didn't get it? Yeah. I'm wrong. I'm truly sorry, but it was just a joke. You square. I mean, what's not funny about, we're coming for Chloe too, we're going to put her in a cage and with a pedophile and we are going to rape her or something. I don't know what happens when you put a child in a cage with a pedophile, but you guys, it's an attempt at humor. And it was emotional. I was emotional. I let my emotions get the best of me. Okay, so that's the excuse that Pat Dussault wants for himself. And yeah, he's an idiot, and maybe he was emotional and not in control of his own emotions, and he probably Googled Donald Trump Jr.'s kids' names. I mean, who would know offhand? Donald, do you know Donald? I mean, I know Donald Trump's name, and he's got a brother named Eric, And I think I know the names of their wives. I wouldn't want to. Vanessa is one of them or something. Lara is one of them. There's Ivanka and Jared. Okay, I've just told you all, and Barron. I've just told you all the names of the Trump family that I know. I don't know the names of the kids. You've got to be a little bit creepy. How do you know the names of Chloe? I assume that's Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter. So I was emotional, man, and I started Googling Donald Trump's daughter, and then I wrote this sick fantasy where you put a lot of thought into your sick, gross sexual violence fantasy, didn't you? But you just read a little tweet of apology and no problem because you were emotional. And come on, guys, this is a joke. I'm a comedian. What are you, square? Do you think he's been fired by anyone? Do you think he's been, I mean, obviously he's still on Twitter. He hasn't been stripped of his Twitter account like Peter Henry Fonda. Roseanne Barr made sort of a lame joke by accident about one of Barack Obama's advisors, Valerie Jarrett, I think is her name, made a joke about Battle of the Apes or some Planet of the Apes, and I don't think she knew that Valerie Jarrett was black or half black or something, and she immediately apologized, but people said, oh, you're calling her an ape, you're a racist. She was fired from her #1 show. She immediately said she didn't know what it was. There was an accident. She immediately apologized, like 200 apology tweets. And it was clear from the context she didn't mean it in that way, but she was off with her head. But this Pat Tissot, that's all it takes. And Peter Henry Fonda, you know, no problem. He's got his movie coming out with Sony Pictures. Because look, it's Trump and his family, and of course you're allowed to be indulge in violent sexual fantasies about their children because they're Trumpists and we know better. It's unbelievable. Let me check. I want to make sure I haven't missed any super chats. There's one there. Tom Youngjohn, my name's Ezra and I'm a funny guy. No, I'm sorry, I haven't been funny. Today, I try my accents, they don't work. I try, you know what, for an accent to work, at least in my case, I've got to be surrounded by it. You've got to be interacting with people with that accent. You've got to really listen and catch the few words that are like the real, like you got it, like Tommy used the word mate and bruv, and you got to start working those in. I showed you the clip yesterday of those two British comedians doing Michael Caine. Like you've got to really, really listen, and I just can't make the vocal fry sound. All right, I want to take a very short break now. We have a promo for John Cardilla's show called Off the Cuff, and why don't you take a look at that and we'll come right back.
Today on Off the Cuff Declassified, a controversial police shooting in East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Police shot a young black man in the back, but might it have been justified? Law enforcement expert Ben Manis joins me to discuss the detention and arrest process for illegal aliens. We're going to debunk a lot of bad information. President Trump signs an executive order eliminating those child-parent separations at the border, or did he? And Peter Fonda gets a pass for disgraceful tweets that I believe would have gotten any conservative permanently banned from Twitter.
All right, I was trying to find it there. I was trying to find Vince Vaughn during the break there. I'm going to find it for tomorrow. That's my promise. I'm not going to keep looking for it. Okay, I hear in my ear that my friend Justin has a clip. We're going to try it. Is it a funny joke? Yeah, it was sort of funny. Probably not as funny as I think it is. Is Wedding Crashers a funny movie? It's a pretty funny movie. Is this Just the Tip thing funny? I think it was funny. I mean, I think that movie came out like 20 years ago and I was younger and maybe my sense of humor is different. But his tone of voice, his attempt at sexy persuasion is exactly the same shyster, huckster sound I hear when Justin Trudeau locks eyes. And you just said the word ladies. With any there's different kind of Justin Trudeau speeches. There's the stammer, that's the Justin Trudeau stammer. But sometimes he goes for the sexy substitute teacher. And if you just throw in the word ladies. Okay, Justin's been looking for this clip. Let's see if he's got the clip. Here's Vince Vaughn.
You're just really wondering, are we going to get hopped up enough to make some bad decisions? And perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or, ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Okay, can you put that so he can't see it, and thank you. Hey, Janice, great talk.
Okay, maybe that's all it is. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe I'm misremembering a stupid joke from my youth, but I think that's the best I'm going to do. All right, let's get back on track. I'll give up on the Just a Tip thing. I'll come back to you another day with proper clips that show you what I really think of Justin Trudeau when he goes into his substitute drama teacher. Ladies, unlike Donald Trump, when I put kids in detention, it's with love. Unlike Donald Trump, who when he puts kids in detention, ladies, he does so out of misogyny. Just try that. When Justin Trudeau is looking at the camera and he shakes his head a little bit, just add the word ladies every sentence to what he says. And I think that really brings out the Trudeau-ness of it. All right, let's take a few more comments. I don't see super chats right now. Oh, there's one here. Moonman, oi bruv, where's your streaming license? That's right. That is, you know what? That's right. You need a license in the UK, the BBC. You got to pay a TV license. Did you know that? It's one of the things I've learned. Oi, bruv, if you buy a TV, and they actually try and track down people who are using TVs that don't have a license, and they prosecute. I don't know how often they prosecute, but it's like you could theoretically, I think, go to jail in the UK if you don't pay your TV tax. It's just one of the funny wrinkles there. Okay, Sheila Gunn, this voice is how Ezra convinced me to work for his company. Sheila, ladies. No, thank God that's not true. Okay, I'm going to start. You know what? I tried way too hard. But I just do that. Next time you see, I mean, there's the different stammery stuff. Okay, let me give you another wild goose chase, Hannah and Justin. Find Justin Trudeau on North Korea a few months ago when he does this stammer and this pause. And Trudeau has like a 30-second pause on North Korea. Do you know what I'm talking about? So there's your stammer Trudeau, your uhs and ums Trudeau. That's the real Trudeau when he's off script. And then there's the one where they say, okay, Justin, go in with the, hey, ladies. So with the hey, ladies one, if you just add the word ladies, you'll be okay. Okay, let's get back on track. Gabriel Swift says it's a felony not to have a TV license in the UK. Well, I don't know enough about the law in the UK to know is it a felony or misdemeanor. Do they even have that terminology in the UK? I hear in my ear that Justin has very quickly found that Trudeau North Korea's stammer. Here, take a listen.
We need to ensure that we are working together with our allies to find a path forward there, because a nuclear power like North Korea that has shown a level of irresponsibility and fundamental irresponsibility, to not use a word like crazy, which I will not use, is of real concern.
Yeah, that was sort of a brain hiccup there. He was trying not to get in trouble. I mean, that really big gap, and I think that was a bird in the background. It was like sort of like crickets there, wasn't it? I have one more request, Hannah and Justin. It's the David Axelrod triple stumble, the full one. I want to see all three stumbles. I'm really working Hannah and Justin hard today. I'm throwing things at them. We start off our super chats. I've got a list of clips and websites in my hand, But listen, this is sort of a stream of consciousness. And I just want to, I should do a whole show. I did a show on Catherine McKenna's vocal fry. I did. And you know what? We should get a clip from that because I actually practiced the vocal fry a lot for that one. But we should do one on Trudeau, the Valley Girl. Because you just saw him there. But now you know that Justin Trudeau has used marijuana his whole life. And he has acknowledged that he continued to use marijuana after he was elected. Now, any healthy media would have a question about that, like, who's your dealer? Where did you smoke? Were you in Government of Canada property, like, the Parliament buildings? Were you at your official residence? Who delivered it to you? Were you dealing with like a criminal, or did you buy it from your staff, who dealt with a criminal? Or did you smoke with other MPs or cabinet ministers or staff, or were you smoking at home with your kids? You're a grown man now. Are you worried that someone might blackmail you? You're the Prime Minister, and marijuana was not yet legalized. It's actually not yet officially legalized. The regulations have not been promulgated, so you're the Prime Minister, you're breaking the law. Are you not worried that someone can blackmail you? Are you not worried about the police? What about the propriety of a lawmaker being a lawbreaker? But really, I'm curious, how much did you pay, and how did you order it? Did you have like someone in your cell phone that you did? What did your RCMP guards say? Did they see it? What did they say? Did you ask them to usher in the drug dealer? Were you with Gerald Butts or Catherine McKenna or Seamus O'Regan, who has a lot of substance abuse problems? I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying maybe you guys get drunk and stoned together or something. Do you ever smoke up on your flights? We know they drink thousands of dollars of booze on those flights. His trip to India, $5,000 worth of wine. That's a lot of wine. Do you just smoke up? Have you ever smoked drugs in other jurisdictions? Are you worried about breaking law? See, these are normal questions. I think that, imagine if Donald Trump acknowledged that he was doing illegal drugs after he was elected. I'm not talking about 30, 40, 50 years ago when he was young. I'm talking about after he was elected. Justin Trudeau has acknowledged that he does drugs. I don't know when the last time, but since he's been elected. Are you not curious who sold him the drugs? And when did he use government money? Did he expense money? Justin Trudeau's not good at paying for things himself. Don't you think those are real questions? I want to show you when Trudeau went to Chicago recently. Trudeau's visited the United States, I checked, 15 times. He's telling other people, boycott USA. He can't get enough of the United States. He's always going down to meet political schemers on the left, like David Axelrod, or because America's a great city. He loves going to San Francisco. He loves going to Hollywood. He loves going to New York. Who doesn't? So when Trudeau says, don't go to America, we got to boycott them. Yeah, how about you start, buddy? He's gone 15 times in 2 years. Like, he just, every month or two. And so often he takes his whole clan, his whole crew, his whole entourage with them. I'm going to show you a video of when Justin Trudeau flew to Chicago. See, he's been going to this, I mentioned 15 times. I think he's only met Trump twice in the States. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's 3 times. He goes to the States 15 times because he loves meeting leftist activists. George Soros, he's met with George Soros several times in the States. Let me show you when he met David Axelrod, who is, if I'm not mistaken, the campaign chair of Obama's 2008 campaign. Axelrod is now, he's got some semi-academic position or whatever, it doesn't even matter. And Trudeau was there, and Trudeau had just flown down, so he was on one of these boozy flights. And I want to show you, Trudeau stands up to shake his hand. Now maybe you're tired, maybe you're, I don't know. So if you stand up and shake hands and you wobble once, I'm not going to say a guy's drunk for wobbling once. You wobble twice, okay, you were tired and then you stumbled. But I call this the triple wobble. Let me know when we got it. It's the video of Justin Trudeau at some, and he had been just answering questions in his dopey way, a little bit of the ladies. You know, I'm different than Donald Trump because I'm a male feminist. And he shakes the head a bit. It's just, I like to play a game called Just the Tip. That's what Vince Vaughn, my Vince Vaughn joke didn't land today. I'm not talking about his ladies' voice. I'm talking about his substance abuse. Is it okay to talk about how much he drinks? $5,000 on the flight, on this trip to, is it okay to talk about, I mean, if Donald Trump, had drug issues, we know how the media party covered Rob Ford's various addictions, drugs, alcohol. Cruelly is the answer. Don't you think the questions I asked about Justin Trudeau and drug use, they're not cruel, they're just real questions. Anyway, check out this video. Justin Trudeau, David Axelrod, look at the triple stumble. Take a look.
Thank you so much.
Stumble 3. And then another stumble. And he reaches down to look, I think there were 5 stumbles. Can you play that again? 5 stumbles. Stop after each stumble. Let's take a look at that again. I think we need a minute, obviously. I want to play that again. Okay, go.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that was not it's sort of a stumble, sort of a wobble. Yep, he said stumble, another wobble. Okay, now he's trying to show that he's stable. Oh, a little wobble. He has to steady himself. He bends over. That wasn't a triple wobble. That was a quintuple wobble. What do you think? You should look at this clip from when Trudeau met with. I think that's a quintuple wobble. What do you think? Tired? Disoriented? Tired from what? The guy works like 2 hours a day. Skips question period half the time. 56 vacations since becoming Prime Minister. You think he was tired? Maybe. Wouldn't be a jet lag issue. Chicago's only 1 time zone over from Ottawa. It's a very short flight. Why do you think he wobbled there? 5 times. Drunk or high? Or something else? Am I being mean? Am I being meaner than the Toronto Star and the CBC were to Rob Ford? All right, let's take a look. Maybe I've missed some super chats. All right, let's get back on track here. One of the things we talk about here at The Rebel is freedom of speech. And we talked about how the other day, I think yesterday, we showed you how something called the Canadians Canadian Journalists for Free Expression have abandoned their belief in freedom of speech. And I'm afraid that the ACLU is backing away from it too, and that I find troubling because the ACLU, whatever else you think of how left-wing they are, they've defended the toughest cases. And they make a point of saying we don't agree with these people. Their tradition was to send a black lawyer or a Jewish lawyer to defend a neo-Nazi defendant, which was their way of saying, obviously, we hate this guy's message, but we know that we have to defend his freedom of speech today or it's ours tomorrow. So take a look at what the ACLU has to say. The ACLU retreats from freedom of expression, free expression. This is in the Wall Street Journal. The organization declares that speech it doesn't like can inflict serious harms and impede progress. By Wendy Kaminer. The American Civil Liberties Union has explicitly endorsed the view that free speech can harm marginalized groups by undermining their civil rights. Quote, speech that denigrates such groups can inflict serious harms and is intended to and often will impede progress towards equality, the ACLU declares in new guidelines governing case selection and conflicts between competing values or priorities. And you know what? They're right. Speech can impede other priorities and values. Absolutely. spicy speech, controversial speech, mean speech, hateful speech, Nazi speech, whatever. It can impede harmony and happiness and serenity. It absolutely can. But that's why we call it free speech, is that the speech is free from those other priorities. And if you're for free speech, you're for free speech even though it counters other priorities. Otherwise, it's not called free speech. Freedom of speech means your speech will not be infringed by, I mean, no one says they want to silence your speech for no reason. They always have a reason. Sometimes the reasons are pretty good. But the whole point about freedom of speech is that you are saying we value speech so much inherently that it will trump other concerns, unless it's such a staggering concern like the free speech is actually in the form of a credible and imminent death threat. The free speech is actually, an exhortation to commit terrorism, so that the essence of the speech is not just free speech in itself, but it's actually a murderous threat, a terrorist act. But it has to be that dramatic. Simply marginalizing people, all speech marginalizes someone if it's political speech. The ACLU used to know that free speech is a tool for marginalized people. Think of Martin Luther King. What did he have? Did he have all the money? No. Did he have all the political power? No. What did he have? He had free speech and an argument. It was the great equalizer. How about the suffragettes? Let's go back 100 years. Did they have political power? No, by definition they did not. Did they have, military power? Did they have all the dough? No. Think of Mahatma Gandhi. It was the power of his speech and his actions, of course, his hunger strikes, for example, which required a free press to transmit them to the people. It was his self-sacrifice and his accompanying free speech that pricked the conscience of the United Kingdom, of the British Empire. What's the commonality between Mahatma Gandhi in India, Martin Luther King, the suffragettes? I'd throw gay rights in there too. Well, those are the marginalized groups who don't have the dough, who don't have the political power, don't have physical power, military power, violent power, other sources of power, corporate power. All they have to take on the real power is the power of their ideas communicated through free speech. And was their free speech offensive? Of course, by definition it was. It was offensive to the order of the day, to the status quo. In fact, let me turn it around on the ACLU. Marginalized groups, offending people. If we didn't have free speech, every one of those people I just mentioned, censorship could have, would have, should have been used to shut them up. Was Martin Luther King offensive? To plenty of people he was, including plenty of people in the establishment. If you now say, if the ACLU now says that they believe that other values like harmony and not offending and not hurting feelings and not being offensive can trump the inherent and essential value of free speech, Martin Luther King would have been jailed. The suffragettes would have been jailed. I remember I was once arguing with a law student who actually migrated to Canada from Rwanda. And he said he was in a class and the teacher asked who was a Hutu and who was a Tutsi. Those were two warring factions in Rwanda. And he said, my experience in Rwanda tells me we need hate speech laws. And I thought, oh my God, do you think that if there were hate speech laws in Rwanda, that those laws wouldn't have been used to shut you up? I mean, if a government is willing to use a gun to murder you, you don't think they would use a hate speech law to silence your complaints about it? Like, do you really think that a government-imposed censorship isn't used in the interests of the government? Do you doubt that if there wasn't a First Amendment, that some segregationist politician would have used that against Martin Luther King? Do you doubt if there wasn't a First Amendment, some anti-suffragette lawmaker 100 years ago wouldn't have taken action against a suffragette? Do you really think that government censorship is only in your hands? I had an interview with Alan Bukhari. I don't think we put it online yet. And that's the thing is, so we were talking about how do you deal with Twitter and Facebook? How do you have government regulate them in a way that if the next Barack Obama becomes president, you're okay with the tools you've given the power, because you know that when you give government censorship power, it's not just Donald Trump or Stephen Harper that's going to use those tools. It's Justin Sexy Voice Trudeau and Barack Obama. I see a super chat. Let me just take a look here. Keith McIntosh loves super chat concept idea. Proposed to YouTube to implement similar idea to allow for tipping for regular videos. Often a like doesn't do justice for a video that's very well done. Ability to dip 10 cents to $1 would be great. That's a good idea. I have interacted with YouTube management on 3 occasions, and those 3 occasions have convinced me that they don't listen to people. They just don't listen. And yeah, so if you have a suggestion to make to YouTube, put it out there. I mean, I think that's a good idea, by the way. And they'll take their cut. Believe me, I think they take 30% of the super chat. But yeah, I have no power whatsoever. I mean, PewDiePie himself, the #1 subscribed YouTube channel, I think they'd ignore him too. They just have their own impenetrable decisions and decision-making approaches. It's 12:51. I think I spent about half an hour today rambling on about Vince Vaughn, Wedding Crashers, and probably a misremembered joke about Justin Trudeau. But I think it was good to show you the North Korea clip and the quintuple stumble with David Axelrod. There are a couple of super chats that I'm missing, and I go to them now. I don't know. I just I really wanted to make the point that Justin Trudeau. Whenever he looks at and bobs the head, I just think, I'm not a girl you're trying to unbra right now, Justin. You're a grown-up now, and stop smoking the weed and stop trying to unbra me, and just pretend you're a grown-up. Super chat, Tame Thing 1 says, "One up Justin by doing Battleground drunk, Ezra." Well, some would say my scattered show today is tantamount to that. Moonman, $2. If you let other men plow your wife, you win, Justin. Well, that is very bad. That is a very bad thing to say, and first of all, I understand you're referring to the apocryphal Justin Trudeau. If you kill terrorists, you let them win. So I know you're not implying that Justin Trudeau allows other men to have their way with his wife. I want to clarify, I understand your obscure joke, and it's not what some people might think it means. That said, can we have tout le monde en parle, Justin Trudeau and Jian Ghomeshi? Because what better way to end the show than, again, a clip so creepy that if this were Donald Trump, you would have memorized it by now because you would have seen it 1,000 times. The clip I'm about to show you is from a Quebec TV show called Tout le monde en parle. That means, that's French for everybody's talking, the whole world's talking. And it's a very high-rated show in Quebec. And Justin Trudeau went on the show with his lovely wife, Sophie, and went on with a fellow named Jian Ghomeshi, who was a CBC radio host, who was later fired for his bizarre 50 Shades of Grey abusiveness. But 50 Shades of Grey tried to make it look cool and sexy. Jian Ghomeshi confessed, and it was proven in court. He was not convicted of a crime, but what came out in court is that he would date women, and when they just wouldn't expect it, he would choke them or smash them in the face so hard their ears would ring. He was just pure violence. It wasn't even like a BDSM thing. It was like, oh, I've got you in my room now. I'm going to literally beat you bloody, beat you black and blue. And he did this for years. So he was a really freaky really freaky creep. And it was covered up. The CBC literally had a war room designed to discredit his accusers. And Do we have the tout le monde en parle? All right, look at this. What can I say? Take a look.
Because you're very handsome.
Thank you, Justin.
Kiss him.
I think because the show...
Again, show the whole thing in. There's a longer version of that. Give me 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after. Can we do that? So this is Justin Trudeau in the buckskin jacket. His wife, Sophie, and Jian Ghomeshi is the Persian Canadian. And she says, kiss him. I want to show 5 seconds before it because I want to show the banter. Give me 10 seconds before it. And she says, kiss him. Sophie Gregoire Trudeau says to her husband, kiss Jian Ghomeshi. And he turns to her and winks and just moves on. Take a look.
Waits, William Shatner, Jay-Z, Radiohead, Jane Fonda, Paul McCartney et Leonard Cohen que vous avez reçus en entrevue exclusive.
And it was the only one he did in the world.
Incroyable.
And, yeah, it was a great. It was
Pourquoi
great. He was very generous
choisi?
too.
Because you're very handsome.
Thank you, Justin.
Kiss him.
I think because the show has a reputation, I would hope.
So there we go. So you saw you're very handsome. So Jian Ghomeshi says, I was the only one in the world who got an interview with Leonard Cohen. And Trudeau says, well, it's because you're very handsome. And Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, his wife, says, kiss him. And he just turns to her and winks at her and goes back to things. Is that weird? Yeah, it's a little weird, don't you think? I think it's a little bit weird. Does it mean anything? I have no idea. No idea. Is that underreported? Yeah, have you ever seen that before? You ever seen that before? Can you call up Sheila's video on Sophie Gregoire and the drink? You know what I'm talking about? I see a super chat, Keith McIntosh. But you're Ezra Levant. What part of that doesn't YouTube get? Listen, when I met with YouTube, I was complaining about their demonetization of our videos. We literally, there's 3 words that I know if we put it in the headline of a video, YouTube refuses to sell ads. Trudeau, feminism, or ISIS. They just, if we put the word feminist in a headline, they won't put an ad on it. They just won't. It's not even a human decision, I'm sure. It's just an algorithm. We can appeal those, but it takes 48 hours to appeal, and by that time the news is stale, and 99% of the viewers that we'll get for that video have already been gone. Let me know when we have this video. And again, well, I'm about to show you a video that is gross. It's an attempt at humor, I acknowledge that. Someone's trying to be funny. Not all jokes are funny. It's very hard to be funny. I guess what I'm saying to you is if Melania Trump made this video, or if Stephen Harper's wife, Lorraine Harper, had made this video, or Andrew Scheer's wife, I don't remember her name, made this video, would you have seen it before? I'm going to show you a video from Sophie Gregoire Trudeau from a few years back. I'm not sure if they were married then. I think they were. And it's in French, but it doesn't even matter. Can we play? Sheila did commentary. Let's skip Sheila's commentary. I just want to show the raw stuff itself. Take a look.
Relations intimes, il y a quelques jours dans le mois où c'est un petit peu gênant au niveau sexuel avec son partenaire. Est-ce que tu vis ça?
Ouais, c'est une période qui est un peu plus limitée, effectivement.
Tu sais de quelle caresse je parle?
Ouais, je l'ai sur le bout de la langue.
On se comprend bien, mais si je vous annonçais aujourd'hui que j'ai un produit qui pourrait transformer cette période féminine du mois en une expérience sensuelle et rafraîchissante.
Sophie, tu m'intéresses, parle-moi en plus.
Oui, ce sont les chercheurs de la NASA qui ont inventé ce produit dans les années 80. Tu sais, quand tu es à des kilomètres de la Terre dans une station spatiale, les odeurs féminines, ça devient un petit peu encombrant. Hein? Alors les chercheurs de la NASA ont voulu transformer cette période féminine du mois et les missions spatiales, c'est souvent très long. Alors, les astronautes se sont rendus compte que ce produit transformait non seulement l'odeur féminine, mais le goût féminin en un véritable goût de thé glacé.
Alors, ce que tu me dis, c'est que le thé glacé que je bois maintenant est fait de...
Tout à fait, John.
Oui.
Tu sais, ta femme n'a qu'à prendre une dragée, tastovule, et 1 heure après, elle va à la salle de bain, récupère ses fluides corporels et les mélange à un peu d'eau et de citron. Voilà, le tour est joué.
C'est incroyable. Mais comment ça fonctionne au fait?
John Tastovule utilise le pouvoir d'un enzyme breveté, le flavorenz. Comme tu le sais, le sang menstruel est très riche.
Stop it. I've seen enough. It's so gross. We did a video on this. Sheila Gunnery did the video. It goes on, and let me tell you, it gets grosser. Now, do I know that this is a joke? Yes, I know it's a joke, or an attempt at a joke. Do I think this is real? No, I don't think this is real. It goes on and on and on and on and on. You can find it on our website. Do I think that you're not allowed to make gross jokes? No, I think you should be able to make gross jokes. Was that tout le monde en parle, kiss him business real? I don't know. Probably a joke. My point is this, and it goes to the Trump derangement syndrome we talked about earlier with Pat Tissot. If Melania Trump had done that, if Trump and Melania had had that kiss him moment thing, do you think you would have seen that 100,000 times by now? I think you would. And I think that goes to the fact that the media party, you just can't trust a word they say. All right, that's the strangest and weirdest battleground we've ever done. A little bit rambly. And I misremembered The Wedding Crashers. I haven't seen that movie in 15, 20 years, so forgive me. I gave you instead a lot of Justin Trudeau weirdness because, you know, you're not going to get it on the CBC, the state broadcaster. I see it's 1:01. We're a little bit over time. On behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, until tomorrow, good night, and keep fighting for freedom.